Hello all, welcome to study 12 of the Solving Studies to Improve Chess Calculation. This time we are going to see a study from Dr. Bron. Dr. Bron was a renowned Soviet chess master from the Soviet Union, of course. Vladimir Akimovich Bron, his name. He was also a scientist specialized in refractory materials industry. So he also produced some interesting and brilliant studies like this one I bring you today. You know the drill. If you need watch the guide video, the countdown will start, and then you have 10 minutes that you can pause or jump directly to the solution chapter, and I see you with the solution in a while. And here we are with the solution. And the first phase of this puzzle is not so difficult. So I think most of you have managed to play bishop a2, the only move. Let's see just for what's going on over here. So white is threatening to promote the pawn, and the only way to be able to do it is to give the check with the bishop and next move promotes it. Otherwise, like for example, if it goes here, well, probably expecting the knight to take it. Well, it's not a check, so simply black can take the pawn, and this is a draw. With two pieces and the pawns we are going to exchange, so not that possible. So the right correct move is bishop a2 check. But the difficulties are not starting now. Of course, here the king can go to the corner, but then we promote the knight takes. Then this is an easy win for white because basically the king is not able to protect the pawns, and we have a simple way to protect the c2 pawn and taking all the others. Like, for example, playing bishop h7, the pawn is protected, so we can move the knight away, grab the other pawns and come back and force the bishop to sacrifice for the remaining of our pawns, and then with knight and bishop we can win the game. So going to the corner is also not possible. As I said on the beginning, the first phase it's very simple, very intuitive. So let's count on the king after the check going to c1 instead. Okay, now we need to promote, of course, forcing the knight to take the queen, and we take the knight back, and black to move. Here, basically, what black wants is to take this pawn, of course, and then take the other pawn, because if black takes both pawns, it will be a draw. So the first move is more or less easy, either this one or king d1, attacking the knight, that it's the only and sole protector of the pawn. So there's not much white can do at the moment, needs to move away with the knight, and so basically knight f3 comes as a logical continuation. And now black needs to choose which pawn is better. Of course, if we have a bishop in a dark square, we want to stop the white pawns on black squares also. So the priority is to take the other ones that we can't protect as easily. So the correct move is to take the c2 pawn. White to move, of course. If we don't take the pawn now, the pawn will advance and force us to sacrifice, and then we have a draw again. So also the basic logical move is to play c takes d4. Now black to move. As I told you, we want to stop this pawn in a black square and then use the king and the bishop as a defensive measure to take the pawn, and so we got the draw. So here the right move and the best, of course, is to stop the pawn immediately with d5. Now white to play, and what is the threat from black? Black wants to bring the bishop attacking the pawn, and then closes with the king, so with two pieces attacking the pawn, forcing the exchange at the pawn. And after the bishop and the knight being exchanged and the pawn being out of the way, white remains only with the bishop, which is not possible to deliver mate, so it will be a draw. So here, white takes the remaining pawn with the idea of, after bringing the king near to the pawn, of course, black starts the first move, approaching the pawn, so intending to bring the bishop or to approach, for example, king e3 attacking the knight needs to move away, then we take the pawn again. So both strategies are possible for black. Now we bring the king near the pawn, so we approach our king. The idea is to have the king to have two pieces also protecting the pawn while we take the other one. So no rush is here, of course, in taking the extra pawn, so be careful with that. We first need to account, because like for example, if coming back just here, just a short notice, if here we do something stupid like this one, Well, it simply allows black to be fast on the pawn, and now there's no way to protect it all. We have two pieces attacking, and it will be a draw. So don't forget that we need to be careful. Also, if we do something like this, like trying to approach with the king without not taking care of the remaining pawn, black has this simple way to do it. And now, for example, like going over here and next move, even if it takes, we can bring the bishop, like, for example, I don't know, maybe this one, it's enough. And then, for example, we try to get away, but now we exchange everything and it's a draw again. So only these sidelines we need to take in consideration. So the best move is to eliminate this pawn, and when the king approaches, we bring the other king, so to be ready to protect the pawn in a fully and efficient manner. Here, of course, black needs to also play to take the pawn. So this king e4 is a logical move, attacking the knight moves away, then we take the pawn. Other moves, like for example, checking the king to place it more far away from the pawn, well, doesn't work because we simply here, of course, we need to go with a clear route to protect the pawn. If we go down, it's also a mistake, like for example over here, because then we can attack the pawn and the king has no way to approach. So also pay attention to these moves. If black does this, we need to go over here in the situation, like for example, I play here, and if the bishop attack now, I have time to bring my king. So always pay attention to what are the targets of the opposition, so you can't you can play the correct moves. And of course, now it's black to move in this situation, and so it's lost. So the right move here is for the king, attack the knight. Attacking the knight, and now white needs to play it, of course, otherwise it will lose the knight, and we are also attacking the pawn if the knight moves. So white needs to be smart. And the beauty of the study, it's more or less starting from here. There are not many good continuations. Like for example, we can't go over here. Of course, neither this one helps because the bishop will come on the next move. Uh, what is the best and only move over here? It's to play knight h4, and it's not so easy to see why this is the best. But of course, if the king now takes the pawn, like for example, if the king now takes the pawn, can you guess the move? Well, there will be a fork. Okay, so grabbing the bishop. So in a way, the pawn is not yet attacked. If we continue, just like for example, attacking the pawn, we get this interesting and unexpected move, check. Now, if the king takes the pawn, can you see what happened? If the king takes the pawn, we simply can checkmate it. Yes, that's the beauty of the study. So here, the king is in check, so and the only way is to move away from the pawn, which gives us time to approach our king, like for example over here. And then we grab the pawn, we keep protecting this one, and it will be an easier win. So the only difficult move basically is to find this one. Let's see, for example, what happened if we go, for example, over here with the idea of going over there. Well, this simply loses the key square of being able to fork the king. Let's see some more options, like the same goes over here. So the only possible move is play king knight h4 to have this fork. And now the solution is easy. The bishop comes to attack the pawn, we give a check, and the king is forced to move away. And after here, there's no more need to control. We simply check the king, take the bishop, and now protect the pawn. And this is an easy win for white. Okay, let me just go back a bit and end the study with the most interesting position, this one. Checkmate. Hope you have enjoyed the solution. Hope you have found at least the first moves. I won't say that the last move is easy, but I won't say also the study is that hard. See you again in future studies. Bye bye.